Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be diving into some fresh cybersecurity research. Straight off the arXiv preprint server.
Okay.
It's a mix of fascinating stuff from the world of LLMs to post-quantum cryptography.
Wow.
But first, we're going to start with something that might hit a little closer to home.
Okay.
Online shopping. You know how we're always told to read the fine print?
Right.
Well, a new study found that a whopping 42% of popular shopping websites have terms that could actually hurt you financially.
Yeah, it's really alarming how prevalent these unfavorable terms are. This research team really dug deep using automated data collection, topic modeling, and even an LLM detector called TermLens to analyze terms and conditions from over 8,000 shopping websites.
Oh, wow.
They discovered 22 distinct types of potentially harmful clauses grouped into categories like purchase, post-purchase, account termination, and legal aspects.
You know, what struck me was that these unfavorable terms were more common on less popular websites. Why do you think that is?
That's an interesting observation. It could be that smaller sites face more pressure to generate revenue and resort to these tactics. Or maybe they lack the resources to craft more consumer-friendly terms. It's a question worth exploring further. Instead of just focusing on the big players, we need to think about how these practices affect consumers across the entire online marketplace.
That's a really good point. And it makes you wonder, what are some examples of these sneaky terms? I bet we've all encountered a few without even realizing it.
Absolutely. Some sites bury clauses that allow them to increase subscription prices without notice.
Oh, wow.
Others make it incredibly difficult to delete your account, potentially leaving your data vulnerable. And we all know the frustration of hidden fees that pop up at checkout.
Ugh.
This research shines a light on the ways consumers can be exploited by these tactics.
It's definitely a reminder to be more vigilant. Have you ever felt tricked by websites' terms and conditions?
Certainly. It's easy to just click agree without truly understanding what you're signing up for. This research suggests it's a more widespread problem than we might realize, and it raises the question, should there be more regulation to protect consumers in the digital space?
That's definitely something to ponder. Now let's shift gears and talk about large language models, or LLMs, which are having a major impact on the cybersecurity landscape.
Right.
There's a ton of research coming out about both their potential and their vulnerabilities. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. On one hand, researchers are developing innovative ways to use LLMs to enhance security. On the other hand, attackers are finding ways to exploit these very models for malicious purposes. We're going to explore both sides of this fascinating dynamic.
Let's start with the positive applications. One paper that caught my eye describes LLM Second Fig, a tool that uses LLMs to automatically fix security misconfigurations in software containers. These containers are widely used to package and deploy software, but configuring them securely can be a complex and error-prone process. What's interesting about LLM Second Fig is that it combines static analysis tools, which scan code for potential vulnerabilities with the power of LLMs to understand the code and actually generate fixes.
It's a powerful example of how LLMs can be leveraged to automate security tasks and make software development more secure. Imagine a world where common security vulnerabilities are automatically detected and repaired during the development process, potentially preventing countless breaches and exploits down the line.
That's a compelling vision. It would be a game changer for software security. And it's not just about fixing code. LLMs are also being used to help security analysts make sense of the vast amounts of data they deal with.
Okay.
For example, there's a tool called RAM, which stands for Rule ATT&CK Mapper.
Okay. RAM tackles the challenge of mapping SIME rules, which are used in security information and event management systems, to detect threats, to the MITRE ATT&CK framework.
Okay.
The MITRE ATT&CK framework is essentially a knowledge base of adversary tactics and techniques, a valuable resource for understanding and responding to cyber attacks.
So RAM helps analysts connect the dots between the specific alerts they're seeing and the broader attack patterns that might be at play.
Exactly. It automates a process that was previously very manual and time-consuming, giving analysts a clearer picture of the threats they're facing and helping them respond more effectively.
Speaking of effective response, another paper we're looking at describes SHIELD, a system that uses LLMs to detect and explain advanced persistent threats, or APTs. These are sophisticated, stealthy attacks that can go undetected for long periods, often with devastating consequences.
Right.
What sets Shield apart is its ability to uncover hidden attack patterns that might slip past traditional detection methods.
Okay.
Plus, it's designed to reduce false positives, which are a major pain point for analysts as they can lead to wasted time and resources chasing down phantom threats.
It's like having an AI-powered detective working alongside security teams, helping them to sift through the noise and focus on the real threats.
That's a great analogy. But here's where things get a little unsettling. While researchers are developing these incredible tools, attackers are also getting creative with LLMs. We're seeing a new breed of attacks, specifically targeting these models themselves. And it's a rapidly evolving threat landscape.
It's a classic arms race, with both sides constantly trying to outmaneuver each other. One example that highlights this dynamic is pandas, a technique that uses LLMs to bypass safety mechanisms in other LLMs.
That sounds incredibly complex. Can you break it down for us?
Imagine training an LLM to be a master manipulator, able to craft prompts that trick another LLM into generating harmful content, even if it has been specifically trained not to. It's like using the LLM's own strength against it.
So it's like an LLM inception, with LLMs fighting each other.
Yeah.
It's both mind-boggling and a little unsettling to think about the potential consequences.
Indeed, and the implications go beyond just generating harmful content. There's also the threat of model stealing, where attackers try to replicate the functionality of a valuable LLM without access to its training data or internal workings.
Oh, yeah.
One paper we examined describes Ada Steal, an attack specifically targeting medical LLMs. It uses publicly available images to steal the model's functionality.
That's incredibly concerning, especially considering the sensitive nature of medical data. The potential for misuse is enormous. And to make matters worse, attackers are also figuring out ways to slow down LLMs, using a technique called overthinking.
Right. They essentially overload the LLM with complex decoy problems, forcing it to waste resources and time. This could have a major impact on applications that rely on the speed and efficiency of LLMs, like real-time translation or fraud detection. Imagine critical systems grinding to a halt because their underlying AI models are bogged down with these computationally expensive decoys. The consequences could be significant.
It paints a stark picture of the challenges we face in this new era of AI-driven cyber attacks.
It does, and it begs the question, are LLMs ultimately making us more or less secure? It seems we're in a high-stakes race, with researchers and attackers constantly trying to outsmart each other.
That's a question we'll continue to grapple with as we delve further into the world of cybersecurity. But for now, we'll leave you to ponder that thought. When we come back, we'll explore other emerging threats and defenses that go beyond the world of LLMs.
Oh.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've just been exploring the exciting and sometimes alarming ways LLMs are impacting cybersecurity.
It's clear these models have the potential to be both powerful tools and dangerous weapons. But the world of cybersecurity is vast and constantly evolving. Let's move beyond LLMs and look at some other emerging threats and defenses that researchers are grappling with.
One area that demands our attention is the quantum realm. We've all heard about the potential of quantum computers to break the encryption algorithms that underpin our digital world.
Okay.
It's a threat that's looming on the horizon.
It sounds like something out of science fiction.
It does, but the threat is very real. A sufficiently powerful quantum computer could potentially render much of our current encryption useless, from online banking to secure communications.
That's a sobering thought. Are we just sitting ducks, waiting for this quantum apocalypse?
Not at all. Thankfully, researchers are already working on solutions. One paper we came across proposes a quantum-enhanced version of the Advanced Encryption Standard, or AES. This is one of the most widely used encryption algorithms today, protecting everything from financial transactions to government communications.
So it's like we're building a shield against the future weapon we know is coming.
Precisely. Developing and implementing quantum-resistant cryptography is crucial for safeguarding our digital infrastructure in the post-quantum world.
It sounds like a massive undertaking.
It is. It requires collaboration across governments, industry, and academia, but it's a challenge we must address if we want to ensure the security and privacy of our data in the future.
Moving on from the quantum realm, we also need to be thinking about the security of the devices that generate and process that data, especially in the rapidly expanding Internet of Things.
Okay.
We're talking about everything from smart home devices to industrial sensors.
The IoT presents unique security challenges. These devices are often resource-constrained, making it difficult to implement robust security measures. Imagine trying to secure a tiny sensor embedded in a bridge or a medical implant. It's a whole different ballgame compared to securing a traditional computer system.
So how do we protect these tiny devices from sophisticated cyber attacks?
Researchers are exploring innovative approaches to address this challenge. One paper we examined proposes a new lightweight approach to detecting denial of service or DOS attacks. In IoT systems, DOS attacks aim to overwhelm a device with traffic, essentially knocking it offline.
It's like a digital traffic jam, clogging up the system.
Exactly. This new approach offers a way to detect and mitigate these attacks, even on devices with limited processing power and memory. It's a crucial step towards securing the vast and ever-growing network of interconnected devices.
That's encouraging to hear. But as we connect more and more devices, it seems like we're also creating more potential points of vulnerability.
That's true. It's a constant balancing act between realizing the benefits of these technologies and mitigating the risks. Speaking of risks, there's another threat that's becoming increasingly relevant: model supply chain poisoning.
Model supply chain poisoning. That sounds ominous.
It is. The model supply chain refers to all the steps involved in developing and deploying a machine learning model. And just like any supply chain, it's vulnerable to attack. If attackers can compromise even one stage of the process, they can potentially introduce backdoors or other vulnerabilities that could have widespread impact.
It's like tampering with the ingredients of a recipe. You might not notice anything wrong at first,
Yeah,
but the final dish could be disastrous.
that's a great analogy. And the consequences of model supply chain poisoning can be significant. Imagine a compromised medical AI model that misdiagnoses patients, or a corrupted financial model that makes bad investment decisions.
So how do we prevent this type of attack?
One promising approach is to focus on transparency and verification throughout the model development process. One paper we read describes a new attack called Transtroid, which allows attackers to embed backdoors into pre-trained models that persist even after the model is fine-tuned for a specific task. These backdoors are incredibly insidious, making it crucial to develop techniques for detecting and mitigating them.
It's like finding a needle in a haystack. But we need to find ways to make sure the AI models we're using are trustworthy and haven't been tampered with.
Absolutely. This research highlights the need for robust security measures throughout the entire model development lifecycle.
So from quantum-resistant encryption to securing the IoT and protecting the AI supply chain, today's research paints a picture of a cybersecurity landscape that's constantly evolving. It's exciting, but also a bit overwhelming. What key takeaways should our listeners be thinking about?
I think the most important message is that the research community is actively tackling these challenges. There's a lot of brilliant work being done to develop new defenses and stay ahead of the curve. But we all have a role to play in this effort. Whether you're a security professional, a developer, or just an everyday user, staying informed and being proactive about security is more important than ever.
It's a shared responsibility, and it requires constant vigilance and adaptation.
Exactly. Cybersecurity is no longer just the domain of specialists. It's a collective challenge that demands our attention and action. We need to be aware of the threats, understand the risks, and take steps to protect ourselves and our digital lives. And as we move forward, it's crucial to remember that technology is a double-edged sword. We need to harness its power responsibly while also being mindful of its potential for harm.
And on that note, we'll take a short break to reflect on these ideas. When we return, we'll wrap up our deep dive with some final thoughts and a question that will leave you pondering the future of cybersecurity. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the potential pitfalls of online shopping to the looming threat of quantum computers and the complex challenges of securing the AI supply chain.
Right.
It's clear we're living in a time of rapid technological advancement, and with that comes a whole new set of cybersecurity concerns.
It's a constantly evolving landscape, and staying ahead of the curve requires a deep understanding of both the technology and the evolving threat landscape.
As we wrap up our deep dive, I'm left with a question that I think is crucial for anyone interested in cybersecurity. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting to explore this field, given the breakneck speed of innovation, what skill or knowledge will be most valuable for navigating the future of cybersecurity?
That's a great question, and it's one that I think about a lot. If I had to choose one thing, I'd say it's the ability to think critically and adapt quickly. Technology is constantly changing, and the threats we face are evolving at an unprecedented pace. What worked yesterday might not work tomorrow, so we need to be able to analyze new situations, identify vulnerabilities, and develop creative solutions.
So it's not just about mastering the latest tools or techniques, but about cultivating a mindset of continuous learning and problem solving.
Exactly. The cybersecurity professionals of the future will need to be versatile, adaptable, and constantly evolving their skill sets. They'll need to be comfortable with ambiguity, embrace new challenges, and be willing to learn from their mistakes. It's not an easy path, but it's one that is both intellectually stimulating and incredibly rewarding.
It sounds like we need a new breed of cybersecurity professionals, those who are not only technically skilled, but also possess a deep understanding of human behavior and the psychology of attackers.
I agree. Cybersecurity is no longer just about protecting data and systems. It's about understanding the people who are trying to exploit them. We need to think like attackers anticipate their moves and develop defenses that are not only robust, but also adaptable.
It's a fascinating challenge, and one that I think will continue to draw some of the brightest minds to the field of cybersecurity.
I have no doubt about that cybersecurity is a field where you can truly make a difference. The work we do protects individuals, businesses, and even entire nations from harm. It's a critical part of our interconnected world, and the need for skilled professionals will only continue to grow in the years to come.
Well said. To our listeners, if you're intrigued by the research we've discussed today, we encourage you to check out the full papers on the arXiv preprint server. The links are in the show notes. And if you're interested in diving deeper into the world of cybersecurity, be sure to subscribe to The Deep Dive for more explorations of fascinating topics. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay secure.